More than 1 million refugees have arrived in Germany since 2015.
65 million people displaced around the world. That's about the population of the UK.
Some new information on the surge of refugees in North America.
The government has separated 2,000 kids from their parents.
They're telling us that they're making the trek because they're fearful of their safety in their countries of origin.
The global refugee crisis is debated each day by politicians and pundits. But what's often missing are the personal stories.
I can't remember my life before the war.
Of people who seek escape from war or natural disasters.
It is like a faraway dream. It is like a faraway dream. It's someone else's dream. I need to reclaim who I was. Before the war.
Most refugees are women and children, and they are often a silent majority. But now a play created and produced by Gitana Productions is giving voice to the experiences of displaced women.
Before, my family lived in a house on a mountain outside Kabul, Afghanistan.
The script is written directly from interviews with women refugees from Bosnia, the Republic of Congo, and Afghanistan. It's a genre called verbatim theater, meaning all of the stories, which are sometimes painful, come from interviews with real people.
The Serbs took my husband to a labor camp. I never saw him again.
The play, called New World, is a recent collaboration between artistic director Cecilia Nadal and playwright Patton Chiles.
There's a responsibility that comes with having authentic messages and stories rather than made-up things that people use to support their point of view. Patton and I work very well together because I'm always going to ask the question, where did this come from and how authentic is it?
Patton led her own theater group for 2 decades. Histrionics Theater of St. Louis performed plays based on actual historical accounts. That experience made her an expert on the genre of verbatim theater.
Everything that she wrote had to be based on something that was written. If it wasn't written, it wasn't going to be on stage. So she's got the discipline and skill of taking the words of real people and then putting it into what's there.
You sort of start as a sponge, but you start where they're safe, where they can talk about, I ask them simple questions. How many brothers and sisters do you have? And the translator would ask, and then the question back would be, do we count the ones that are dead? And I said, yes, the dead count. You just have to start peeling back from where they are safe and let them hang on to that so you can take them forward.
It's a very mind and body response that people are affected by trauma through civil war or international country-to-country war, because I think that they are walking ghosts who feel dead, empty, nothing, and they are the parents of children who are trying to figure it out. So that transition and adapting is just such a painful process. Another part of healing is sharing their story, and if it seemed validating.
It is midday and the rebels take over the town.
Because the play is based on true experiences, it can be difficult to watch, especially for refugees.
Coming here as a refugee, it meant a lot to me as a teenager.
Sunita Manu is from the Ivory Coast in Africa. She spent part of her childhood in a refugee camp in Liberia.
It was just like, wow, okay, this is powerful. And just seeing my mother's story being told, because I was a little girl during the war, so my mother lived the war. And so seeing her story being told on stage, it's like, that's what she tells me at home. That's what this is what she talks about when we're having mother and daughter time, or when we were even back in the refugee camp. This is what the parents were talking about.
Sunita and her family walked from the Ivory Coast to Liberia. They had to take turns carrying her disabled younger sister, who didn't survive the refugee camp.
We went from living in like a little 1-bedroom little apartment area to the refugee camp now. So we were in the refugee camp for 2.5 years. It was me, my mother, my nephew, and my little sister. The war separated me from my father and my brothers. I have not reunited with my siblings yet ever since the war. After we lost my little sister, because we didn't have proper medical care, a month or so after we lost her, then our visa got approved to come to the U.S.
Sunita is one of many refugees who have succeeded in the U.S. despite countless obstacles. She works full-time while pursuing a master's degree in public health policy at St. Louis University. Plays like New World have the power to counter stereotypes, according to Gitana Productions. In doing so, it brings a human face to the global refugee crisis.
And you hear all these women and their story. This is what they went through to get here. And you hear people who say, well, why would they want to come here? And I said, look what they're leaving. This is what's happening to where they were. Why would they not leave? The reason for being here is not sinister. It is not to take somebody's jobs or to do anything. Their reason for coming here is to save their lives. Verbatim theater is so important, and it tells you the truth. It tells you the story of where we're from, and unless we understand that, we can't understand each other now. If we're going to move forward as a nation and be smarter, better people, we have to understand where we come from.
That's the only way we open up brains. You know, the counter to being too cerebral is heart and authenticity. And if that can be brought to people, just maybe, you know, the brain rethinks what it has taken as kind of a soundbite, and it's more reflective and more critical. If we don't accomplish that, if we don't hear people say, how can I help, what can I do? Then we haven't achieved what we wanted to achieve. That's the magic of theater.